Imagine that you're just in your 20s and you're already suffering from a hand injury in which you cannot move your hands just because you type too much. Being college students, we all use laptops, computers, mobile phones, various sort of smartphones and iPod Touch and stuff like that, and we're constantly typing. We're typing every minute that we're awake, probably when we're sleeping or almost sleeping too, and while doing our assignments, browsing the internet, listening to music. But sometimes we tend to overlook the dangers that excessive typing can cause. I have particularly researched few news articles like the New York Times, US News, and few others, and also know a few people who've had hand injuries due to excessive typing. Some of them are my friends, and some of them are also the older group of people, like people who do business and stuff. Thus, I'm in a good position to persuade you guys to take necessary actions. Excessive typing has started to cause certain hand injuries due to a significant shift of our dependency on technology, and exercise can basically prevent this problem. First, let me tell you more in detail about the problems that are caused with excessive typing. Now, if you look at this picture, it shows our hand right here, and over here it shows the areas of numbness that are caused on the hand, the median nerve, the carpal tunnel, the flexor tendons. All these areas get especially affected because of excessive typing, and that's why one of the diseases that is called carpal tunnel syndrome. Carpal tunnel syndrome is basically an irritation in the nerve of the wrist that is caused due to tingling and numbness of the fingers. Carpal tunnel syndrome is also caused due to excessive hand movement. According to the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, approximately 8 million Americans suffer from this disease, and 23% of them recover and get back to their normal lives. The reason is that these diseases are curable in their earlier stages and not in their higher stages. And most of the times when these diseases are detected, they're at their highest stage because people excessively type. Another problem caused due to excessive typing is repetitive strained injury. It is a cumulative trauma disorder which is caused due to excessive hand movement, and an example of that excessive hand movement is typing, as we've been discussing. It can be caused due to damage to the muscles, tendons, or the limbs, the forearm, and it can cause pain, fatigue, and numbness. If necessary actions are not taken, then this syndrome can lead to complete inability to move your hands. So it's like when your hand is like this, ideally my hand can move anywhere, any way the way I want it to move, but when you have repetitive strain injury, it would probably like go like this, and then you won't be able to move your hand at all, even if you're trying. Anyone using the computer for more than 4 hours is unfortunately at a risk of getting this problem. And we all know, like being college students, we all use the computers a lot, and especially like our phones, because computers is still when we do assignments, but phone is 24/7. Now that I've informed you about the problems with excessive typing, we will look at some of the causes of the problem. But before that, I would like to show you some more pictures of people suffering from carpal tunnel syndrome. This picture right here shows a hand in which the person's hand cannot, the fingers are particularly swollen up, and it's hard for them to move them. Mostly technology and a fast life is the reason that we type excessively. According to New York Times article, the average young American spends every waking minute using a smartphone or an iPhone. This shows that excessive typing mostly occurs among youngsters. Now, we're not saying that the other age groups are avoided in this category, but youngsters spend the most amount of their time with technology. A businessman spends most of his time running around, but whenever he's using technology is when he's having to do his work. But youngsters, be going out to movies, be texting friends or calling friends, or just be doing assignments, they're always constantly using technology. Another article in US News says that about 4 million of students are now taking online courses every semester and are switching to e-learning. E-learning is definitely growing. People now, not even just the youngsters, but also the old age group who have not pursued a degree in the past, are doing degrees online, and that definitely takes up all their time typing. Even I did an online class this semester and I realized how much more you use your computer just because you're doing something online instead of having to go and see a professor in a classroom. Now that we know about the problems and the causes of the problems of excessive typing, let's move on to some of the solutions. Simple exercises can relieve you from getting any of the diseases that have caused you excessive typing. It is practically not possible for us in this day and age to chat or type less. This is because the way technology is moving and the way our lives are so fast, it is almost impossible for us to chat or type less. If I ask you right now that use your phone less or give up your smartphone, you know that's not going to happen. Or just stop using a laptop. For a college student, their laptop and their phone is like their best friends. They might not have friends, but they need to have these two. Thus, exercising will help us prevent this problem. Hand exercises would both prevent and cure carpal tunnel syndrome and repetitive strain injury. Now, simple exercises like hand exercises would really make a difference for you. The first is a wrist exercise in which you stretch your fingers on the opposite side like this. You basically stretch your fingers on the opposite side like this, and you hold this position for about 30 seconds, and then you keep repeating between both your arms for 2 to 3 minutes. I have a picture for you that shows right here. The girl right here is doing this exercise where she's stretching her fingers at the back and holding the position. The second exercise is for the fingers, where you form a fist in the beginning and then you release and stretch and you form a fist and then you release and stretch it like this. And then you hold this position for 15 seconds and then you hold this position for 15 seconds. And then you keep switching between both arms for 2 to 3 minutes. The third one is a shoulder rotation exercise, which can be done both 90 and 360 degrees. I'm sorry, 90, 180 and 360 degrees. So you could do you can either do this and keep practicing like this and this, or you can do like 180, or you can go like a whole 360. Now the fourth one is a wall stretch exercise, which is more like a wall push-up, where you're stretching your arms against the wall and then you're just moving back and moving forward. Moving forward and moving back, and you're doing a wall stretch. This position should be practiced for about just a minute, because in a minute, if you go fast, you can do almost go like 60 or 50 times. The doorway stretching basically relieves strain from the entire arm and plunges your elbow at right angles, keeping your forearm towards the door. Where you hold, if this is the door, you hold your arm like this and then you go stretching. In this angle, it relieves your pain in the entire arm. And this exercise is particularly good for your shoulders, because I don't know how many of you guys have noticed, but when you stretch, when you type a lot, your shoulders and your entire back starts hurting if you've been sitting at the computer for about 6 to 7 hours. Now these exercises have been provided by a Michigan professor, and he says that doing these exercises relieves pain a lot. And it also provides a break from typing at the same time that it's relieving pain. Ideally, you should do these exercises every 1 or 2 hours, but if you want to move slowly and integrate yourself into this daily habit, then you can begin by doing it every probably 4 hours, and then increasing the time you do it every day. Now, I would like to show you some pictures I have that can also explain more about the hand exercises. This picture right here shows how you can stretch your arms like this. You can go like this, and then you can go like this, where you're not really doing anything to your fingers except going up and down. Now the second position is going like this, which is radial deviation, where you go like this. And then the third position is going like this, where you're just twisting your fist, which is like rotation. Thus, excessive typing has, since now I have mentioned to you the problems, the causes of the problems, and the solutions to excessive typing, let me just give you a brief overview. Excessive typing has definitely started to cause problems like hand injuries, like carpal tunnel syndrome and repetitive strain injury, and this is because of our significant shift and dependence on technology and fast life. And exercise can prevent this problem. Avoiding avoiding excessive typing can help you to prevent from getting repetitive strain injury and carpal tunnel syndrome. Exercising regularly will not only help you to not get these syndromes, but it will also help you to be active and get breaks from typing and just keep your muscles active. In this current scenario when technology and development are both important to us, however, it is definitely not more important than our hands. Technology is important but not definitely more than our hands. Thus, it is something to think about. These exercises can prevent the hand injuries and also make our lives active. Now, I'm sure many of you might be inquisitive to know much more because before researching about this, I didn't even know that carpal tunnel syndrome and repetitive strain injuries existed. So I'm pretty sure after hearing my presentation, you might have several doubts in your mind. So do any of you guys have any questions at this point?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So how can the diseases can be cured?
If you get carpal tunnel syndrome or repetitive strain injury, it can definitely be cured. But the only way, but it depends on what stage it is, because if you excessively type a lot and your disease is at a very high stage, like you cannot move your hands at all, then it cannot be cured and you'll be suffering permanently because you won't be able to move your hands even if you want to. But then if it's at a lower stage, then it can be cured by, like doctors will make you exercise more and stuff like that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Does anyone else have any questions?
I have a question, so how can I reduce the time in my daily life?
You can reduce, like, it depends on how motivated you are to reduce typing, but you can definitely reduce it. Like for example, if you use a smartphone, then you can try to make an effort to call every time you text. And apart from that, like whenever possible, you could, instead of actually using your laptop, you could print out and read your material or handwrite your homework instead of like typing it out all the time. And just like take a lot of breaks between the amount of time you type, so that just reduces the strain on your hands. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, everyone.